Hello, my name's John Thorne from Thorny Motorsport, and this is one of our product videos we've done. Now, I'm quite proud of this one, quite proud of what we do here, frankly, but this is one that's been working on for some time. Back 4 or 5 years ago, we developed an aftermarket spring for the McLaren range. Completely standard, exactly the same as the standard springs, because McLaren wouldn't make the separate spring available. So if you had a rusty spring that snapped, you had to buy a whole new shock absorber. And we thought not only was it not great for the planet, it's also an expensive way of running a car. So 5 years ago, I think it was, we developed replacement springs for pretty much all the models. And we've sold nearly 4,000 now in the last 4 years. So we are helping people a lot in terms of springs, which I've covered in a different video. But it always bugged me that there was no rebuild process for the shock absorbers. Now, shock absorbers do fail. They're not designed to live a lifetime. They're made of rubber seals and different pros and pros. They do wear out in terms of usage. Obviously, going up and down a lot, suspension would do. So they can't last forever. And what we were finding is that the shocks were leaking and there was no rebuild product for it. You had to buy a brand new shock, which was frustrating and expensive. Bear in mind, some of the McLaren shocks now are over £2,500 a go. Now, I mentioned UK pricing. I'm aware that overseas, especially in the United States, some of these prices for products, for parts, are significantly higher. So if you are looking at buying parts, go to one of our dealers in America if you can, because they will charge what we charge in the UK. Okay, so something to bear in mind in terms of price these things, so can. However, saying that, brand new shock each time a shock fails is frustrating, so we want to come up with a rebuild process. Now, we're a race car team over the years, we're good engineers. I actually gave some shocks to several suspension manufacturers around the world and gave the instructions to come up with a reasonable cost rebuild process using the same or better quality componentry. And of the 4 I gave them to, 3 failed, but 1 didn't. A company called Fast MX out of Lithuania. We gave them 20 shocks to do last year and ran them on all of our cars here to great effect. So we have now released the rebuild process for shock absorbers. I've got some here. So any shock that we rebuild comes back in pretty much brand new condition with a brand new spring. If it has a system that's fitted with an accumulator, if you send the accumulator back, you get a brand new accumulator as well. Okay, so these are different shocks, different process. We cover all the models pretty much. We normally stock all the models as well, so you don't have to wait for them. And the idea is that you have a failed shock, you give us a call, you order the shock absorber from the website. You pay an additional £500 for the shock absorber as well. So the total bill initially is £1,500, depending on the shock, the different prices. And then once you send your old shock back, we refund you back £500, so we can then use that shock to rebuild for the next person. So it's a swap over process as you would do like gearbox cores, that kind of stuff. The idea here is to limit your car being off the road, possibly swapping the shock absorber over, and also not paying extra to have a whole new shock absorber each time. We do all the models, lift and non-lift. The prices are dependent on what kind of shock it is, whether it's an accumulator or not. Of course, it depends on different series, but they all should be available. Most of them are in stock. Some, depending on the model, we don't, but we cover all the models, depending on what you have. And if we don't have it, send the shock in, we rebuild your shock and send it back for the same price. So we're quite proud of this. Again, it should save McLaren owners over multiple thousands of pounds a year in terms of process. There is a 3-year warranty on the shock absorbers as well. Each one that's rebuilt, so we're quite confident what we do. Hopefully that's useful for everybody. There are links in the videos from here and where to got them for you. Pick by your model and going from there, but all go from there. So great. Please, any comments you got about what we're trying to do here, again, hit the bell and subscribe to try and help the algorithm on our videos. Hopefully this is useful for you. Okay, cheers.